It's the most rumbleful time of the year. It's finally January, everybody, which means it's time for the Royal Rumble. Everybody loves a good Royal Rumble, except if it's last year's, because that was a bad Royal Rumble. Both of them. But despite how poorly last year's event went, God, I'm looking forward to the Royal Rumble this year. Because in my mind, there are like 3 conceivable people who could possibly win it. So, that's good for a Rumble, and for the women's match, it exists. Go Rhea Ripley. But the Royal Rumble is a universally loved wrestling match because of its unpredictability, and it's been that way for over 30 years now. People have always flocked to a Royal Rumble, even if they're not avid wrestling fans, even if they're lapsed wrestling fans who have stopped watching the product for some time, they'll creep back in around January to see how the Royal Rumble plays out, because it's a good wrestling match most of the time. The concept itself is great. It's like a drawn-out battle royal with the winner getting a world championship match in the main event of WrestleMania. Rest in peace, Pat Patterson, you undisputed genius. But with that being said, the winners of said match haven't always lived up to expectations. Some of them have been great, don't get me wrong. Rock, Austin, Nakamura especially, for me at least, those have been perfect Rumble winners. However, some are a bit strange. And I decided to kick off 2023, we're not going to make a negative list, we're not going to make a positive list. It's just going to be a list. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Jackson Haney from Insane Internet Wrestling, and here are the 5 weirdest Rumble winners of all time. Number 5, Edge 2021. This one's a bit of recency bias, sure, but it also really threw me off once I heard about it. 2021's Rumble was very, very odd, because 1, it took place in front of basically no fans. It was in the Thunderdome, and that doesn't count as having fans. But it was a weird, controlled environment to where it kind of worked. And it also presented the second or third time in Rumble history where entrants 1 and 2 lasted from the very beginning until the very end. So, it's kind of weird. Edge and Randy Orton came in at number 1 and lasted until the very end. Edge eliminated Orton to become the 3rd person in Royal Rumble history to win the match from number 1. The other 2, of course, being Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit. And I wasn't unhappy with the result of the match. Far from it. I liked it, but my main question after it was, why? Like, Edge is already a WWE Hall of Famer, already a multiple-time world champion, and he's already won a Rumble and challenged for WrestleMania titles or whatever. But why did he need it again? And why now? To me, the winner of the match should have been Daniel Bryan, because it just made sense. And God, can Daniel Bryan please win a Rumble match at some point? Please, 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 please. The match we ended up getting, which was a triple threat between Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan, was good as it was. But it would have been, to me at least, cooler if Bryan had just won and we had a one-on-one match between Roman and Bryan at WrestleMania. That's just me, though. Number 4, Bret Hart and Lex Luger, 1994. Okay, fine, this is technically a top 6, but they won at the same time. They both won the Rumble. Shut your mouths. The 1994 Rumble is remembered for really one thing and one thing only, and that's Bret Hart and Lex Luger being crowned co-winners of the Rumble match. And WWE haven't done it since, and for good reason, because it's kinda crap. When John Cena and Batista famously fell out of the ring at the same time in 2005, WWE did not crown them co-winners. Vince McMahon came out, tearing his quads as he did so, and announced that those 2 would just wrestle again to determine a clear winner, and Batista won. Fair enough. This, however, didn't pan out that way. Instead, they just announced them as co-winners, and they would both challenge Yokozuna at WrestleMania. Intriguing concept, but weird in execution, because WWE was high on Lex Luger. The fans were high on Bret Hart. So the night of the Rumble, when they had to announce both winners, they did like a mini poll, even though WWE fans didn't know it was a poll. They said Lex Luger's name first. He got some cheers. Then they did Bret Hart's name, and he got a crap ton of cheers. There's your next champion, everybody. Sorry, Lex. If I was in charge of the booking, I would have just scrapped the whole Lex Luger thing because, well, it didn't work. Look at SummerSlam 1993. And I would have just had Bret win and beat Yokozuna. Retribution for WrestleMania 9. The story writes itself, people.
Number 3, Triple H 2016.
This one is just kind of funny, but also, ugh. So 2016 was, like the previous two, a weird Rumble. But this one had a sense of feeling and emphasis to it. Because this match is only the second Royal Rumble that was for the WWE Championship. And what's even weirder is that Roman Reigns, the WWE Champion, defended his title in the Royal Rumble match. It's an intriguing concept, absolutely, but man, is it weird. The WWE Champion has entered the Royal Rumble before. Hulk Hogan. The WWE Champion has entered the Royal Rumble since. Brock Lesnar. But never before has he defended it in the match. And it was cool, sure, but it almost guaranteed that they were taking the belt off of Roman, so it kind of lessened the mystique of it. What else it did was create a sense of who could win. Because smart wrestling fans, really smart wrestling fans, could figure out that Roman wasn't going to win. So they're like, okay, who are they putting the belt on? The answer, Triple H. Because wrestling will never get old with the concept of bookers booking themselves to be successful in WWE. More on that later. So yeah, I mean, this kind of made sense because Roman attacked Triple H at TLC a month earlier, and so Triple H is getting his payback, not only eliminating him from the Rumble, but winning the championship. So cool, but also you could have had someone else do it except Triple H, because I mean, we don't need dang near 45-year-old Triple H to be WWE Champion. We just don't need it. There were plenty of other guys on the roster. Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, heck, AJ Styles debuted that same night. So, why Triple H? It's kind of dumb. And it resulted in the worst WrestleMania main event of all time. So, good stuff.
Number 2, Alberto Del Rio 2011.
Sticking with weird Rumbles. Rumbles are weird all the time. Why are they weird all the time? So, the 2011 Rumble was the patron saint of weird. First of all, had 40 people in it. That'll never work. 2, all the big names were eliminated early. That didn't work. 3, the final 2 were Alberto Del Rio and Santino Marella. And that sure as heck didn't work. Hindsight being what it is, though, I really don't see anyone else winning that Rumble. Which is crazy because there were 40 people in it. But it just doesn't make sense for anyone else to win. It's a stupid Rumble, so why not have a stupid winner? Speaking of stupid, hello Santino Marella. What are you doing with your life? So yeah, Santino Marella was the runner-up of the 2011 Royal Rumble match. Royal Rumble runner-ups have included The Rock, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, and a heck full of others. Santino Marella is in that list. Santino Marella also nearly became World Heavyweight Champion in 2012, nearly pinning Daniel Bryan in the Elimination Chamber. God is looking down on us, laughing. And yeah, I get it. WWE was pushing Alberto Del Rio to the moon in 2011, so it kind of makes sense, but it's also kind of stupid. And speaking of stupid,
Number 1, Vince McMahon, 1999.
ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the actual patron saint of ridiculous. I mentioned earlier how WWE bookers will always book themselves to be successful. It's a page out of WCW's book, so why not add an additional chapter? 1999, the Vince McMahon-Steve Austin feud was at its highest, and Vince decided to enter himself into the Royal Rumble just to beat the crap out of Steve Austin. That's really what the whole match was built around. There was a bounty on Steve Austin's head whoever eliminated him would either get a push or some money or whatever, but that was the point of the Rumble. Eliminate Stone Cold Steve Austin. And what happened? Well, the number one entrant was obviously Stone Cold. Number two was Vince McMahon. Vince hardly wrestled in the entire Rumble. He literally went and sat on commentary for a majority of the match and only came back in the ring to eliminate Stone Cold Steve Austin because The Rock was interfering, costing Stone Cold the match, and Vince won. And then immediately after, on Raw, Vince vacates his Rumble cash-in or whatever, and then Commissioner Shawn Michaels awards it to Stone Cold Steve Austin, rendering the entire 1999 Royal Rumble as pointless. Whew, I really need to not be doing this. Yeah, it's weird. 1999 is generally considered to be one of the worst Royal Rumble matches, and it's not hard to see why, considering how pointless it was because Vince won it, didn't challenge, and Shawn Michaels gave the challenge opportunity to Austin. And it's weird. Super duper weird. Vince McMahon is weird. Wrestling is weird. Why do we watch wrestling?
And that's the list. Thanks for watching. Did I miss anything out? If I did, tell me about it in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe. And you can follow me on Twitter here. I'm Jackson Haney from Insane Internet Wrestling, and I will see you soon.